My name is Katrina, and this is how I ended up taking care of the man who walked out of my life when I was 6 years old. On that day, I stood by the window waiting for my dad to come home. He said he'd take me to the park that day, but instead, he took his suitcase and left. I still remember running after his car, barefoot and crying, yelling, "Daddy, please don't go!" But he didn't look back. He never did. That was the last time I saw him, until 20 years later. Growing up, it was just Mom and me. She worked double shifts just to keep food on the table. Every time I asked about Dad, she'd just say, "He made his choice, but we'll be okay." And somehow, we were. I went to college, got a decent job, and built a life I was proud of. But deep down, I carried a quiet bitterness, a question that never left me. How could a father abandon his child? Mom didn't live long enough to see the life she fought so hard to give me. She passed away 5 years ago from a heart condition. I remember sitting beside her hospital bed as she whispered, "If you ever see your father again, don't carry hate in your heart. Let God handle that." Then one afternoon, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was a nurse from a nursing home. She said, "Are you the next of kin for Mr. Thomas Benjamin?" My heart dropped. That was my father's name. I didn't know what to say. She explained he had late-stage Parkinson's and no one else to care for him. They found my number listed on some old hospital form. The emergency contact. I almost said, "You've got the wrong person." But something stopped me. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the child inside me who still wanted answers. When I walked into that nursing home room, I barely recognized him. The man lying in that bed was frail, trembling, and tired. He looked up at me with watery eyes and whispered, "Is it really you, Katrina?" I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell him how his leaving shattered me. But all I said was, "Yeah, it's me." Days turned into weeks. I started visiting more often, not because I forgave him, but because I couldn't ignore the guilt that crept in every time I thought about him being alone. One day, he tried to speak between shaky breaths. He said, "I don't deserve your kindness. I left because I thought you and your mother would be better without me. I was wrong." Tears rolled down his cheeks. For the first time, I saw not the man who abandoned me, but a broken human being haunted by regret. Caring for him wasn't easy. There were nights I cried in frustration, remembering birthdays he missed, school plays he never showed up for, moments I needed him the most. And he wasn't there. But somewhere in that pain, I found peace. Forgiveness didn't mean forgetting what he did. It meant freeing myself from what it did to me. When he passed away a few months later, I held his hand as he took his last breath. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like the abandoned child anymore. I felt like someone who had finally healed. Sometimes life brings people back not for revenge, but for closure. My father left when I was a child, but in the end, I was the one who stayed.